I've been a GPO since 2018. I was a primary school teacher before that, and I was with Naoise for 2.5 years. I was with Fingallians for 2 years, and I've been now with Naoise Loga for 2 years. So anyway, the grip and the swing is the most important one. We'll go through a load of different things because there's all different parts to the grip, right, and then all different ways to swing the hurl. But the most important part, right, is that, and like loads of the stuff I go through now, lads, you'll have heard a million times, which is great, and if you're coaching it, even better, because you're on the right path, and then you might pick up one or two little things as you're progressing on and how to progress it, what to look out for, and so on and so on and so on. So, first thing first, look, your dominant hand, so your hurl is like this, look, so this is the top, right, when I say the top, this is the top, right, the handle, right, this is the top of the hurl, because the hurl stands like that when it's not being used, usually, right, so your dominant hand should always be the one that's closest to the handle, right? So if I'm right-handed, I am right-handed. My right hand is always the closest to the handle, no matter what I do. If I'm shortening my grip even, it's still the closest to the handle, see? And then my non-dominant hand, which is my left hand, is always the one that's closest to the boss, no matter what I'm doing. So if I'm controlling it, look, that's my grip. If I'm starting out in the solo run, that's my grip. If I'm rising it, that's my grip. So whatever I'm doing, if I'm striking, if I'm doing a short grip, if I'm batting it in like people do now, it's always the closest to the boss, my non-dominant hand. So if you're a Kitog, if you're left-handed, it's just all what I said, but the opposite. So left hand is at the handle, and then your right hand is the one that's down closest to the boss for first touch, for a rise, for taking a free, you know, all that kind of stuff, okay? So that's really important. Ways to find out when you're in the academy or when you're dealing with under sevens and things like that, right? Ways to find out, and you say like, oh, what's your favorite hand, or what's your pencil hand, or what's your, and you know, and they're this one. No, it is this one. No, it's this one. Yeah, this one. And they don't know, right? Which is fine, because why would they know? They're not in school anymore. They're not drawing. They're not doing anything. They're down to do hurling, okay, or camogie. So get them to do things with one hand. Right? And this might sound counterintuitive, and you'd be like, oh no, sure, we were always told two hands in the hurl. Yeah, that's grand. But as the coach, you need to know, because they won't know, you need to know who's left-handed and who's right-handed. So they won't be able to do something with the hurl with their non-dominant hand. They'll have to use, and then it's up to you then to go right-handed, 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 left-handed, left-handed, right, and keep that in your head. And then when they, so like, just even something as simple as, I want you to dribble out to the cone and dribble back, or I want you to hit the slitter to your partner there with one hand. They won't be able, so even if they're doing this, right, and hitting it like this, and you think, God, that slitter went really far, they're not left-handed. You're trying to get them to do a hurling swing, because at the end of the day, right, we're coaching hurling and camogie, we're trying to move away from this stuff, right, or this stuff, okay, and then when it gets to the air, that we're getting away from a push strike like that, right? Or this one, you know, this stuff, right? That's not a hurling swing, okay? And it's not a camogie swing either, right? Camogie is a million times better than it used to be when I was younger as well. Hurling is too. So your grip is really, the grip in your swing, it's the most important part. If your grip is wrong, you're going to get to a point and you'll you'll plateau as a hurler and you won't go any further, right? Like that cack-handed thing that people say, right? Look at Nafina playing now, even senior club, or even junior club hurling. If somebody hurls like that, they'll get snuffed out like that, because you will be one-sided. Because what happens there is, you're striking like this, you'll still get the power, right, on this side, but then once you then have to strike it on this side, look, my non-dominant hand now has to control the hurl and won't be able. It just will not be. I do not have the strength in my left to swing and strike like that. So baseball, golf, lacrosse, hockey, I think as well. You know, your dominant hand, well, ice hockey definitely. Your dominant hand is supposed to go down the stick, but hurling is completely different, because it's overhead and it's on the ground. It's everywhere. So your dominant hand has to be in control of the hurl. Okay. Any questions on that? No. So that's just the easiest trick I've picked up along the way, how to figure out my father told me, to find out who is right-handed, who's left-handed. Get them to do it one-handed, because they won't be able to. Oh, they have their hurl like this, they have their hand, I'm right-handed, so their dominant hand is here, and you'll see them hitting it like that to their partner, and it could go directly to the partner, and people are going, oh, good strike, well done, well done, well done. No, 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 no. It's a nice little golf ball. It's not a hurling swing, right? So what we were trying to get them to do is a hurling swing. And I remember one time I was in Fingallians and I was showing them the hurling swing. This, look, is a ground strike, a ground swing in hurling. So your wrists twist, your elbow come up, your hurl comes up, and that's this side, look, left and right. That's a hurling swing, like that, okay? That is how you swing a hurl on the ground. Okay, so this is a good start, right? This is a good start. I'm fine with this, but not this stuff and not that, right? It's the beginning to get contact with the slitter, which is fine, but then stop them and say, look, this will go even further. If you bring up your hurl up here, up, and then whoosh, like this, and they love the whole whoosh thing, the sound effect of whoosh, you know, because that'll come into play later when we're talking about airstrike and all that stuff, right? But get them, just stop them, correct the hands, right, and then show them what I'm saying, that the hurl comes up. So like when I'm there with Naoise, I'm saying, you know, law of a Suez, come on, woo. I'm saying, law of a Suez, come on, Suez, August, you know, and they go, chum, you know, so it's, you know, hands up, hurl up, and whoop, and they love that, right, and then they hit it, and it does go further, right, because it's the force coming down that creates the power, okay, so you come up, obviously, right, you're looking to twist up like this, but it's the force coming down that creates the power, all right, with the connection. Right side, left side, so it's more wristy than anything. Yeah, look, lovely, elbows are tight, look, you see, that's a hurling swing, there's a hurling swing, there we go. So a bit, yeah, there we go. There you go, well, you're able to swing it anyway. There you go, yeah, and there, look, that's the start of it, and then it'll start tightening up to, see like the way my wrist kind of twists like that, it'll start tightening up to that, right? And then, yeah, there you go. Yeah, lovely, brilliant. Loads of great ground hurlers in here. And they say it's a dying art. Right, hold it. Lovely, look, so look, right, there's nobody, everybody has the correct grip and everybody's on the right path, okay? So, now, one of the coaching things that was going around for a long time, and if it works, look, it works, right, but I've never used it because I never saw it myself, is drawing a C with your hurl, right, which is fine, right, look, because it's the start of it, but I kind of class that as more arms. If I'm drawing a C with my hurl, it's more my arms than my wrists. So like, there's what I should end up like, right? That, you know, that old saying, you know, you should be able to hurl in a phone box. That, like, you know, your elbows aren't really going, unless you're getting a puck out or you're taking a free and you're getting full power into a strike, your elbows aren't doing that chicken wing thing. They're just nice and tight and pew, on the ground, left or right, or out of your hand on the run, boom. See, there's very little, it's all wrist. This is why the grip has to be right. Has to have the correct, you have to have the correct grip, okay? Is that right? That's just for the grip for the swing now, okay? So, for rising the slitter with two hands in your hurl, I want to see you rising the slitter with two hands in your hurl, right? If you have a ball, go on, give it a go. Lovely jab lift in here, very impressive. There you go, yeah. Right, okay, hold it. Perfect again, right? So, first off, nobody is doing this is great, right? This is easy work here now, right? Nobody's doing this thing, you know, right? Right, nobody's doing that. Brilliant. Because, like we were kind of talking about outside, your dominant hand is the one that's always close to the handle, non-dominant one is the one that's always close to the boss, because if I rise it, look, I need to be ready to strike. Whereas if I'm doing this one, it's going to be harder for me to strike and it's slower getting into my hand, right? Hurling, camogie, it's all about speed, that I'm rising and catching the slitter right down below my knee, like be it jab lift or roll lift, okay? Dominant hand closest to the handle, non-dominant closest to the boss. This grip, right? It's the roll lift, it's the jab lift, it's the first touch, look. And what else is it when you're starting off? Huh? Block, I probably wouldn't have that hand there. Just because you may as well just do this. What else is that? Yeah, shoulder run. So you think about that, right? The ready position is literally, you're ready for anything here now in a hurling match, right? You are ready for anything in a hurling match, right? You can control it, you can jab lift, roll lift, you can, or solo run it. You're starting with solo run, and then obviously, look, it'll get to a point where the players, and some of them get very good very quickly, so then how do you get them how do you challenge the better players, the gifted boys and girls, for solo run and practice, right? Just let them do it with one hand. But if they're doing it with one hand, it's not this, right? So you're not doing that. Get them to just shorten it down. Their dominant hand goes halfway down the hurl to here. If you're solo run with one hand, right? They're going to do it anyway. Just let them practice it, right?
So that's the advanced grip, is it?
Yeah, so that'll be the next phase up. So everyone will start out like this because they're oh, sorry, one other thing. Who does this and who doesn't? My thumb, yeah. Does anyone not do that? Does anyone just go like that? You know, like that? So if you're solo running, does anyone just do like that instead of having the thumb out? Would you coach the thumb on it if you were solo running and rising and all? Yeah? No? It's just I always find that interesting, right? Because we were always taught the thumb out like that for solo running, for rising, for first touch and all that, right? We were always taught the thumb because it helps with balance and stuff or whatever. But then I was just watching Tommy Walsh real closely one day and he doesn't do it. And I was like, Jesus, right? Like one of the most stylish hurlers I've ever seen. And he was solo running like this, and I remember being like, that's harder. It's harder for me anyway. But look, if you grow up doing it, like I just always thought that was interesting because we were always coached and always taught that your thumbs were doing this, you know, right? So anyway, that's the start of that, okay? So the air hurling, the hands, you see, this is why the hands are so important. This is why the grip is. Oh yeah, lads, there's dancing or something on, is there? But this is why the grip is so important, lads, in hurling, right? It's the most vital part because it's the start for everything. If your grip is wrong and you're making mistakes in your grip, it's very, very, very hard to overcome it. And people can, because sometimes you'll hear, oh, well, we're doing striking from the hands and the lads are under 14 now and there's a few of them are cack-handed, they're doing this thing and it's probably too late, so I'm just going to leave them at it. It's never too late, first of all. I've seen loads of people change. Loads. The people that don't change usually don't last, right? And like it or not, when we sign up to coach, you're signing up to coach. Don't just leave them at it. Do not just leave them at it, right? And then I know at 13, 14, 15, the boys and the girls, they get kind of bullheaded about this stuff and, no, this is the way I play. And then, simple enough, dealing with teenagers, I usually just say to them, do you want to play for Dublin? Do you want to play for the Nafinas senior team? Yeah, I do. Next time you're looking at them playing, I want you to count how many people play like you. And the answer is none. The answer is none, right? Because you will not, they won't, and then if that doesn't work, you're just going to have to keep, your job is to keep repeating and keep trying to get them to do the right thing, which is dominant hand is at the handle, ball hand goes above it here on the air strike, okay? The non-dominant hand, the ball hand, whatever you want to call it, is always closest to the boss. So for first touch, for rising, for striking from the hand, for striking on the ground, if you're batting it into the goal, whatever you're doing, that's always the way. Is that okay? Right? So as long as you're preaching that message, there's not much more you can do, right? But as long as we're preaching the right message, that's all we can really do, because like, when you think of it, like, right, you probably have two sessions a week, and then a match at the weekend, and then maybe you do football the following week, right? You know, I don't know what way your system is. Most clubs are hurling week, football week, hurling week, football week. You think about it, right? That's 4 hurling sessions in a month, right? That you have direct contact with them. You cannot really, like, you have to do as much as you can to influence them, but it's like, it's like when the children go home from school, and if you're a teacher, you can't really influence what's happening outside of the classroom, right? And And it's the same, when they come to you, Jesus, you're full of energy, you're full of beans, and it's all positive stuff, and they have to enjoy it, and they have to love hurling, they have to love camogie, and going home saying, "God, that was great, I can't wait to go back." That we have to kind of encourage them in some way to get them to practice when they're not around us, right? So this is the thing, is like, you just have to keep going, and there's no quick fix, it's just hard work, and it's just, you'll be blue in the face saying it. It's over, and like nothing is taught until it's retaught and retaught and retaught, okay? One thing I did see in a couple of clubs they do, right, to figure out the hurl hand and the ball hand and all that stuff, in the nursery or whatever, you know, them little rubber silicone wristbands, and they just put them, you know, it might say Nafina nursery or whatever it might be, right? And they just put them on the hurl hand. So if you're right-handed, it goes in your right hand. If you're left-handed, it goes in your left hand. And then you say, "Oh, where's your band? Oh, yeah, it's this one. Yeah. And off they go. That's a little kind of trick, but other than that, it's repetition. All right? Is that okay? Yeah? Like, the only thing that's moving is actually my hands and my hurl, like, is the only thing that's moving. So like, my body isn't actually moving, or my feet or anything, right? And then obviously on the run, like, that's all moving. But like, you'll see this thing when you get to the striking from the hand, you know, this. You know, because they're thinking about hitting the slitter as hard as they can, and they've spun around, and the slitter is here, or the tennis ball or whatever you're trying to hit is here, right? So trying to get them, or even this, it happens in the academy every weekend as well with me too, where they're like that, you know, and you have to, no, don't, like, so it's gone from, you know, keep your eye on the ball. I've had to change my coaching language with all this stuff. Like, it's like, you know, look at the ball, you know, or you need to see it. It's like, don't move your head, and then it just goes like that. And then, you know, that's kind of what I say now, is don't move your head. And then even, like, lads, if you can get them in the nursery doing both, striking both sides. So one, I started doing, I even actually was doing it the other day now with our group on Saturday, was I had, let's say there's a goal there or whatever, right? And then I had the blue cone there and a green one there. And so they had to shoot every second time off the blue cone and off the green cone. Now, dribbling and hurling, right? This is where I allow the gap in the hands, right? So the dominant hand is still at the handle, and then the non-dominant one can go here, or like just at the end of the grip, right? So I'm moving the slitter left, right. So again, you're getting them used to both sides are making contact, right? But because I'm not striking the slitter, right, I'm not hitting it, okay? I'm carrying the slitter, I'm bringing it with me, and I don't want them pushing it like this, because you won't be able to do that, right? You're moving it with you, so you're going right, left, and then see, if you go to the blue cone, you have to strike off your right at the goal. But then if you've moved, this time if you decide I'm going to the green cone, I have to strike off my left side, okay? And then you see even there, lads, right? There's two different grips happening here. There's the gap and then up to lock, okay? Because this then progresses, I'll tell you in a sec, but you see what I'm trying to do there? That I'm trying to get them to engage both sides, that we're not just standing there doing this, you know, oh God, we did loads of striking, right? That, like, this is not striking and stopping it, right? Stopping the slitter, look, again, there's the gap in their hands, right? Gap in their hands to stop it. They're moving their feet to stop the slitter. Can you stop a moving slitter? And then can you strike a stationary slitter? Can you strike a moving slitter? That's the start of hurling, coming out of the nursery, right? So in pairs, you think like, God, that's very simple, sure, we're just striking in pairs. For the children, for somebody who's 4, 5, 6, it's not that simple to have a hurl in your hand and stop a slitter that's coming at you, right? So that's why, and again, look, my hands are apart to stop the slitter as it's coming to me, but then when I go to strike it, look, see, my hands have to slide into lock to strike it, okay? That leads on. Any free takers here? No? So I'm going to jump ahead from striking out of our hand, and I'll come back to that in a second, right? But that dribbling, right? So the gap in my hands sliding to lock immediately lends itself to free taking. So look, free taking. Is anyone at the stage who's at like air hurling stage now? Yeah, right, okay. So, free taking. Now, I'm not talking about scoring, I'm talking about taking them, right? Everybody should be able to take a free. Part of your striking practice, if it's in pairs, over and back, there should be a stage where you show them how to take a free, striking a free over and back, right? Everybody should be able to take a free. Scoring them is a different thing, right? That's kind of down the line to the specialists and all that kind of stuff, right? But everyone should be able to take one, because there's nothing worse than cornerback gets fouled and somebody runs free and the cornerback goes, sure, I can't fucking take that, I can't take that. And then next thing, by the time the centre back runs back to the 21 to take this free, the lad who was free is marked and the whole other team has funneled back down, and then just drive it in. And then, okay, great, that was useless, right? That the cornerback, I don't care how good or bad he or she is, should be able to put the slitter down, rise it, and just hit it, hit it 50 yards up the field, right? I'm not talking about splitting the post from 65s and midfield and all that. I'm just talking about rising it and hitting it, right? So, a big problem that a load of them have with the free taking, because again, look, and even teenagers, right, when they're trying to rise it, their hands are too close, right? You're taking a free. Any of the best free takers, you watch them, unless they do one of these kind of run-ups, which I always think is weird, but they get away with it. But anyway, I don't do that. So anyway, look, the best free takers usually are standing and their hands are apart like this. Look, again, there's your free taking stance, there's your roll lift, jab lift, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do with a roll lift or a jab lift. And this is where the dribbling into the lock comes in, right? So when I'm rising the slitter, because I've so much time and nobody's tackling me, I'm going to get my full chicken wing range of motion, but my hand is sliding from apart to lock in the movement, all right? So I'm rising it, and boom, there we go, all right? So that's where, the first touch or the dribbling and then into striking, that's where that starts, okay? Does that make sense? These lads, they're 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right? And they're still doing this stuff, right? You're like, when you're taking a free, right, nobody can tackle you, obviously, so I'm trying to get them to stand, and I don't care, jab lift or roll lift, that's totally up to them, whatever they're most comfortable with, because when they rise it, look, what you want them to do is you really, really exaggerate the rise, that it comes way up there, so that you have the time, right, to step into it, to slide your hands together, do the chicken wing, and then boom, hit it as it's dropping down, right? So that's kind of what you're looking for. And again, this is where the chicken wing strike comes in, the standing, the planting the feet, the switching the weight. So it starts up here, and then boom, as you're following through, it comes all the way through from the back foot to the front foot. So if you're striking off your left side, it's coming from your left foot to your right, boom, through it like that. And then if you're right-sided, it's coming from behind here, and then you're stepping in and bang, like that, okay? Puck out's the same. Nobody can tackle the goalie when he or she is taking a puck out, so they have the time to, stand, they're looking where they're picking out, and then they can do this one, right? Where, if you ever look up Google images of like Patrick Horgan or Owen Murphy or any goalie, right? You'll see them, right? Patrick Horgan especially. Owen Murphy is another one, Kilkenny. The pose is here like that, right? Because, or John Fenton, right? For Jimmy Barry Murphy's goal, if anyone remembers that goal Jimmy Barry Murphy got in Croke Park, where it comes in and the camera barely sees it, where he doubles on it. It's just the best goal ever, right? But if you freeze the picture, right? So John Fenton gets the slitter around midfield, he looks up like that, and he has all the time in the world, he plants his feet, and as he's striking it, he's doing this, right? So it's not the phone box hurling thing, because he's all the time in the world, and he sees Jimmy Barry Murphy inside, and boom, and he fizzes it in, because that's the full hurling swing, right? For camogie or hurling, right? So off your left side then, it'll be the left elbow is back up like that, and this is where you get rid of the push, you see, right? Because you can't push it once you're engaged like this, look. You can't push it, right? If you're engaged correctly, you can't do the push thing, all right? And that's what we're trying to get away from. And camogie has come on leaps and bounds because of this, literally because of this rotation. Like when I was growing up, and again, like it's just, I think a lot of it is down to, like, let's say, just a lack of coaching, whereas the coaching is so much better now, right? That a lot of the girls were just kind of, now, a lot of boys as well, like depending on who was in charge of the team, just kind of thrown out, right? And just allowed to just let them off, right, kind of a thing. So, and this stuff started, like, I played with I hurled with a fella, actually, sure, John Joe Farrell. Anyone who follows Kilkenny, and he ended up being Leinster Hurler of the Year. But and sure, look, Thomastown won the senior championship in Kilkenny last year, but he still hurls like that. And he, like, I played, and on his right side he hits it like that. I played underage with Kilkenny with him, and he went on and he played senior, and I think he has 2 All-Ireland medals. And Leinster Hurler of the Year 1 year and all, like, but that's the way he hurled, like, right? As far as a hurler, technically gifted hurler goes, like, you know, but that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to give the boys and the girls the tools to become as good as they want to be. Because you give them a hurling swing, you show them how to swing correctly, Jez, you've given them a gift for life, like, right? Like, just, they're sorted. They are sorted. Once they can swing a hurl properly, you've your job done. If they have the correct grip, correct swing, your job is done as the coach, right? All the other stuff, the tactics and all that kind of gameplay stuff and looking after themselves, that comes way down the line, right? But when they're coming out of under 10s, let's say, and they're going into CCC, C2 or whatever, that you have developed, right, on your team as many technically gifted hurlers and camogie players as you possibly can, right? Then the extra practice, the putting in the time, that all kind of comes down to them. Is that right?
We'd have trouble with the girls.
Yeah.
Doing everything. Could you break it down? Because that's the worst bit, is getting them hurling.
Yeah.
You don't really want to do that. As you say, this is what works for them.
Yeah.
Would you try and break it down and say, right, don't even just start from this point?
Yep.
Say, everybody only starts from here and that's it. Rather than down and then up.
Yeah. So when I'm doing, this is the thing why I jumped ahead with the free, and because it was just in my head, right? So I'm doing striking from the hand. So here's again, look, here's my grip for my roll lift or jab lift, and then there's the start of the swing there, right? That the hurl, so your coach and language and all, here, come in a bit maybe actually, right, if the music is too loud and stuff, right? Because I'm doing a lot of talking. I'm probably doing too much talking. So, right, look, so I was at a coaching conference one time, or one of these clinics or whatever, and somebody was saying like, oh, you know, you have to think of it like, you know, a right angle is coming here. And I said, right angle, me arse, like, am I going to talk to that? So then somebody goes, no, the way I say it is you have an umbrella in your hand. Everyone knows how to carry an umbrella. And I was like, oh, that is a good one. Right, yeah, umbrella in my hand, right? So I have an umbrella in my hand. And next thing, so I started sharing this with our coaches, and it was last winter, it was around this time last year, one of the girls, under 8s girls, and she was doing this thing, you know, the kind of, the hurl was here, and this thing, the thing is going in a big circle, and she's trying to connect with whatever, and I could hear the coach going, just pretend you have an umbrella. And she looked at him, and she goes, you know, that you're holding an umbrella, and she goes, like that. And I was like, oh shit. So then I changed the language again on it, right? I just say, look, the hurl has to be standing in your hand. Right? There's where your hurling swing starts. It doesn't start down here, and it definitely doesn't start here, right? That when I rise it, or I control it, whatever it might be, right? That whenever I get up, this is what I'm doing, and then I decide if I'm going to run or carry or hand pass or whatever. But there's where the hurl starts, is here or here. Is that right? Like that's where, like what you're saying, that just you start it up here. It doesn't start down here because it's too slow. You're losing a split second, which in hurling and camogie at this stage, trying to play again, like I'm saying, junior even, you're going to get hooked. You're going to lose it, right? You're not going to get away with it. If your swing is just that split second off, you're just, even like now, like we're junior C championship, like, and like, you know, the lads can't survive. Like, there's some of the lads that, you know, they were kind of social and, oh, you know, no, I played a bit until I was 16, and they just get snuffed out, like, at junior C, like, and Division 5 in the league. So that's the thing, and you just keep going over and over and over, and then eventually they will get the strike from there, boom, and they'll connect, and they'll go, oh, that is different. And then that's when hopefully they have their aha, you know, and then off they go. right?
What about the closed side?
Yeah.
Is it the shoulder or what's the? Because a lot of people go like this, so they go like that. They don't move.
Yeah. So again, right? Everybody come that side there, actually, right? Just age. Look, if they want to start like this, yeah, grand. Another thing. Sorry now, before I move on, right? Another thing. If I'm striking off my left-hand side, my right-hand shoulder needs to be pointing at the target. If I'm striking off my right-hand side, my left shoulder needs to be pointed at whatever target. So if I'm pucking, what's your name, sorry? Aidan. If I'm pucking with Aidan, I can't be looking at him, right? Because when I follow through and, whoa, jeez, I didn't mean to do that. So if I'm follow through and connecting, it's going to go over there, right? So if I want to strike Aidan, it has to be like this, and like that, okay? And on this side, it's, so that's a bit, so like if we're pucking, I can't be looking at you. I have to turn and look like that at you, down the crosshairs or whatever, right off your shoulder. Is that all right? So anyway, the closed side or the crossbar might be, okay? And then, this is another big thing, you see, with this, is throwing it over and then they chase it, you see, right? So that's what you don't want either. One fella does it at inter-county level, and only when I was commentating on a match they were playing, actually it was against Naoise in the Leinster final, Paddy Deegan for O'Loughlin's. He does this. It was only, he scored this point from midfield. He scored a lot of points that day, but he scored a point from midfield and they went to slow motion on the thing, and I was watching it and I going, what the f-? He does this. He throws it over the top of his hurl. He actually doesn't do the technically correct thing. Now look, he's getting the distance in it and the accuracy and all that, so it's the way he's hurled his whole life obviously. But technically, it has to go under your hurl and then your hands come back, and then to avoid the pushing, this is where the chicken wing thing comes in. Look, because look, there's my back. Because like chicken wing is that, look, so they're turning their wrist and cocking their back elbow. That's where you're trying to get them to avoid the push. This is really hard, lads, right? This is the worst, the only bad part about coaching hurling, right, or camogie, is this part, right? Because you've gotten them from striking on the ground, you've got them rising and solo run and hand passing, and maybe now they're comfortable enough striking on their open side, or you know, if they're left-handed, that they can do it. Oh yes, that they can do it, you know, on their natural open side, whatever. Right? And then next thing you go, God, brilliant! Oh look, I can do it. Oh, brilliant! Now I wonder, could you do it on your other side? And then, you know, what you mean? And then, you know, you crush a 9-year-old, like, you know, that all of a sudden, you know, it's like, oh, this is too hard. And yeah, I know it's hard, I know, but that's why it's so good, because when you get it, you'll be better than everybody. And oh, this is brilliant. But you know, there's no trick to it, only patience. Like just patience and determination and repetition. Like it's.
Because when you have a gang of kids and half of them struggle with striking from hand, is it better to go half grip or full grip? Or is there a rule?
No. So this question comes up all the time as well, right? Whatever works, I would say, as long as they don't do this. As long as the ball hand doesn't come back here, right? The handle wraps around your baby finger, not around the outside of your hand, right? So if you're left-handed, the toe is pointing away to your left, and if you're right-handed, the toe is pointing away to your right. Always away. So controlling, rising, whatever, it's like that, okay? Not like that, okay? Because you don't want the thicker part of the boss going under the slitter. You want the skinnier part. This going under the slitter for a roll lift and jab lift, right? Is that okay? Lap off it, right? Because the thing is, again, this is now a higher level kind of than obviously nursery and academy and 7 and 8 year olds. The downswing, so the connection part is too slow, right? That's what that is, right? So you'll get this, you know, right? That thing, right? If you're connecting slowly with the slitter, like if your swing is slow, the slitter won't go far. It'll die somewhere, right? It'll just die somewhere, right? So it has to be like, you know, down, like fast. Oh, the connection has to be quick, like it has to be a snappy, quick connection. That's where the power is coming from. Sideline cut's the same, and people say, oh, how do you do that? So the sideline cut, right? So you're starting off slowly and carefully. I'm not going to hit this now, obviously, right? You're starting off slowly and carefully. Your hands are up high, and then look again. I'm doing the chicken wing thing, and my hands are in lock, and I'm looking at the slitter, and all the power and force is generated into, boom, the downward part, like chopping down a tree nearly. Boom, that's where the power and the height is all generated. Starting high and coming down low at speed. Right, same with taking a free, same with a puck out, same with striking on the run, whatever it is. It's the speed at which your hurl is connecting with the slitter. So if you notice somebody, a boy or a girl, and they just can't reach it from 40 yards, that's probably what it is. Right, the follow through is what it is. Either they're not following through correctly for a point, or the connection is just too slow. That it's basically soft. It's a soft like this rather than like a throw it up to hit it, right? By the time you're swinging your hurl, the slitter is in here now, right? And then this is why on a free as well, why the rising it kind of up and out is so important, right? Like that, because you don't want it coming back towards you like that, because now you're all offline, your swing won't happen, the slitter will go nowhere, right? So the slitter or the ball, when you're going to strike on the run, has to be thrown out in front of you so that you are meeting it at full speed in the same spot as you would if you were standing. But because your momentum is bringing you towards the slitter, it's almost like a foul hand pass, you know, like it's almost like I'm doing that, but obviously not as much power as that. It's just being released out in front of me that I'm going, so like, show us that there again, so that I'm going like this, like, right? So that, see, when I'm striking with it, it's down there, lovely for me. So like it's a different technique, and again, and then again on that side too, it's a different technique, and then it's under, and it's all, so that's why there's all levels to this all the time. And then, like, you think about it, right? A really, really, really good hurler should be able to strike the ball on the run on both sides, out of their hand, and then off their hurl as well, without catching it. If you've taken your 2 catches, now you can't catch it again. You should be able to, on the run, be able to strike it on your left or on your right hand side, right? So, again, like, it's all very technical stuff, and how could we cover this in 2 sessions a fortnight? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, expose them to it though. If somebody's ready for it, definitely expose them to it, and then see can they go practice it on their own. Side and the goal is there, right? I'm aiming for the left hand post no matter what side of the field I'm on, because I'm striking off my right hand side. But my hands are up like that, and then when I connect it, I'm down like this here, right? So the heel is actually hitting the ground, it's not hitting the ball, right? I'm in like a lunge position here. My stomach is basically on my front knee, and my head is down here, right? But again, all that is generated, all the power and the distance is all generated on the down part, that part. And then if someone hits them on their left, just the same, but vice versa. The right leg goes forward, boom, head is down, and then like that. But the heel, that's why a good heel is important for people who like to take silent cuts.
Somebody going around taking notes, or
Yeah. Even just talking before training, after training, if you see something that he's doing that you tell him and he says it to me, and hey, look, watch when he comes around to you, can you just talk to him about this? Yeah. Like, so say like we did a teenager camp, whatever, advanced camp, whatever, during the summer, and I had 2 other GPOs with me, and like this, we have a new lad, he only actually started hurling this year and he's 14, and he's a beast. Right, but his technique, like he knows what he's supposed to be doing, but because he's only after starting hurling maybe 7 months ago, he just isn't there yet. So then I had just said to the 2 GPOs that are with me, I was like, look, keep an eye on that lad. His name is Nathan. I was like, keep an eye on that lad, right? He's a great fella, really, really good player, but his swing needs to, and yeah, and so like that. Because I know him, but the lads don't, and he doesn't know the lads, so they might say something differently to him than I would, and that could click with him then in a better way. So yeah, definitely. That's the, so right, I said patience and enthusiasm. A plan, they're the 3 things you need. Patience, enthusiasm, and a plan, right? And that's all that, right? Because, right, you can't really treat everybody the same, because everybody isn't the same, right? Somebody needs to be spoken to in a different way, somebody needs to be shown something in a different way. It's like if you have a team meeting, some people will take stuff off the PowerPoint, some people will fucking take nothing off it, some people only want to do on-pitch stuff, some people find the on-pitch stuff harder, some people you just have to tell them, some people you have to show them, right? And, you know, so everybody learns differently, so definitely, like, you know, even little things like we have a girl there, and she wears a hearing aid, right? So when I'm explaining the things, like I won't stand right beside her and be like, hey, you know, but like I'll stand about this close to her, and I'm telling the group and shouting kind of around her like that, so that she knows exactly what we're doing. so that I don't go, do you know what we're doing? Did you hear me? So I have to take all that into consideration when I'm going with a different group, her group specifically. But what you're saying, 100%.
Do you take fellas sort of out of a session individually, or do you need to warn them beforehand that you might do that?
So sometimes I'll say, here, come here, and then I'll say, you come with him, or bring the two lads with you, and then because nobody probably wants to be taken. Because like you think about it, right? If you're taken aside in school, it's probably because you're in trouble, and immediately. So if I said, here, come here, it's oh, what did I do now? Rather than, here, boys, come here for a second. Look, so see the way, and even like you bring out somebody who he's friends with, who's able to do it correctly, and say to them like, right, come on, I want you pucking it, and then say to them, here, see the way, isn't that real nice the way he does that? Could you try that? You have to try to get around it, like, without saying like, see, this is wrong, and you can't get the fucking grip, it's just like, just tighten that up a little bit. Like, watch the way Jimmy can do it there. Watch the way Jack. But he's really good. Yeah, but I bet you he practices all the time. Do you practice all the time, Jack? Yeah. Oh, fair play. Look, see. It's no accident that people are good at hurling, lads. Trust me, right? Or camogie. It's not. It's a lot of time and a lot of effort.